Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be doing an oil change in a 2010 Subaru Forester. This is the third generation model of the Forester, which ran from 2009 to 2013. So let's take a quick look at what we need to get going, and then we'll get started. All right. Using my car has almost 100,000 miles, so I'm using Mobil 1 high mileage 5W30. This I usually change about every 7,500 miles, but I am not a mechanic, so please don't quote me on this. That's just my preference. You're going to do it however you want to do it. That's just how I do it. All right. So we got Mobil 1, the oil filter. I use the OEM Subaru filter just because, well, it's cheap and I think it's a pretty quality product. So we got the Subaru filter. Now here's the real important part, the crush washer. All right, you can pick this up at the Subaru parts counter when you buy your filter. These are like 20, 25 cents a piece. Buy like 5 or 10, put them in a Ziploc bag and keep them. If you do not use this during the oil change for the filter, I'm going to show you how to use it. Your oil will leak and you'll have problems. If you want, use the oil filter wrench. I usually don't. It's really simple on the Forester, so I usually just get it off by my hand. Funnel, and then here just a pan to drain all your oil in, and make sure when you are finished draining all that oil, you put it back in your 5-quart container and you take it back to AutoZone or wherever you can recycle the oil. All right, guys, so let's get started. Under here, underneath the front of the vehicle, we're at the oil pan. You're going to need a 17mm socket head or a 17mm wrench to get this bolt off. So let me show you where it's located. You got your exhaust manifold coming down here out of the engine. Right behind it is this pan, all right? Here's the bolt, 17mm. And a lot of times, well, a few things. If you're doing this, anywhere, put some cardboard down underneath your oil pan, just so you don't make too big of a mess, because this can get messy. Wear some gloves. I'm a fool, I forgot. I just don't have any. So make sure you have something that can clean your hands off after this. But one thing, a lot of times these are going to get stuck on there. So a good strategy that I usually use just to kind of break it a little loose is this. So check it out. I'm gonna put a wrench on here. Hey Aria. I got my helper Aria, my little daughter over here. She's awesome, saying hi. And here's what we do. And Isla, my other daughter, just said don't forget her. So we're giving her some credit as well. So what I do is I'm gonna put a wrench on here, and I feel like this works better than a socket. It doesn't bounce as much. And then you're just gonna bang on it, all right? And it's kind of hard here with the camera, so give me a second. Let me get positioned. So what I'll do, like I said, I'll put it here, okay? And then I'm gonna kind of whack on it here. And you're gonna feel it kick loose. And actually, you move this out of the way. I'm just kind of being lazy. Sorry, guys. I shouldn't do it. There you go. Kind of feel it kick loose right there, all right? It's moving. So now I'm going to get my pan back under there. I'm going to move my tools out of the way because you want to keep a clean work site. All right. And so now is when you come in with the socket, okay? Let me get my light back over here so everyone can see what I'm doing. All right. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Don't forget that. And I'm kind of reminding myself. My wife's laughing at me, but if you guys knew me in person, you'd understand. All right, so here we go. We got this here, and oh, one more thing. Make sure that the engine's not hot when you do this. A hot engine means hot oil, and that burns like a mother. All right, so this is gonna come out kind of quick once it comes. All right, and. And you'll know you're close because you're going to start seeing oil gather around, okay? I guess I wasn't close enough. In the comments, feel free to laugh at me. Yeah, my family's back there laughing at me right now. So I got a good support group here, guys. That's the key when you're working on your vehicle. You gotta have some comedy. All right, so there we go. Nice sludgy oil. Actually looks way better than I thought it would. So yeah, we're just gonna let that drain. Now one thing you want to do is get up top, and I like to open the top where you dump the oil in. All right, that's gonna help it just flow a little better. All right, as you can see, it's pretty much done dripping. So what we're gonna do is do a couple things here. All right, one thing I always like to do is I'm gonna clean this bolt off. All right, get it nice and clean. Just wipe it off with an old rag. Doesn't have to be perfect. Next thing, all right, if you're on the cheap, do not be cheap with this next step. Do not reuse the old crush washer. This is the old one. It's been crushed. It's junk, all right? Get a new one out. Like I said, get it from the dealership, man. Like I said, 20, 25 cents a piece at most. Buy a bunch. The way it goes is simple, all right? I take the flat side and I put it up against here, all right? And then I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna set that down for a second. I got my socket with me, my 17 millimeter. All right, I'm gonna go in here and just kind of wipe off this excess right there. Get that nice and cleaned up. And then make sure you thread it correctly. Yeah, that's important. Remember, the crush washer is on there. Do not forget the crush washer. I did once. I learned the hard way, and I had an oil leak, and I had to get a crush washer and rechange the oil. All right, so that's embarrassing. So there, once the crush washer is on, all you're going to do is you're going to cinch this up. Now, cinch it up just so it's nice and snug. You don't have to, like, impact driver tightness. If you do that, it's going to be impossible to get this back off. All right, so I'm going to tighten this back on. We're going to get to that oil filter. And so as you can see, I've switched sides here. The oil pan is here. The bolt we took off is right over there, right? So the oil filter is really simple to find. It's right next to the oil pan, like most cars. But Subaru's just kind of taking all the guesswork out of it. If you look right up here, can we see it? Let's see. Boom, where it says engine. It's just like the filter I have down below. That is for the engine oil, all right? So let's get this camera set up, and what I'm going to do, honestly, I'm going to either get this off by hand or with an oil filter wrench. I'm not going to film the struggle I have getting it off or on. That's really up to you guys. Every car is different. All right, so here's the new filter. Basically, how I got this old filter off, let me show you. I had to put a screwdriver through it and use that as a fulcrum point and kind of turn that around, and it was a freaking disaster. So anyway, what we're going to do with the new filter is, I don't think the shop, when they replaced my head gaskets, when they put the new filter on, I feel like they didn't do this simple step. You just take some of that old motor oil, all right, and you rub it around that gasket, and that's going to give it a really nice seal. That's also going to prevent it from, like, rotting on, which is what I think happened there, all right? They should not be that difficult to take off. All right, so really, all I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this filter, this Subaru filter, and I'm going to screw it back where I took it off, and I'm going to show you how we put the oil back in and what we do from there, all right? Cool, stand by. All right, let's just see if we can get some of this footage, all right? Because I know a lot of you are watching this to learn how to do it. Now, there's a thread up here, there's a bolt, and really, you're just going to thread it on, all right? Let me see if I can get a better angle. Righty-tighty, and no one's out here to make fun of me. All right, so really, all you're doing here is just hand tightening this, all right? You don't need a wrench or anything. Just get it really nice and snug. You know, like, you know it's not going to come off, and boom, there's your oil filter. All right, we're going to move on to the next step, which is the easiest part, adding the oil. Now, one last thing, though, before we do that, since we're under the hood, we just want to take a look. Yep, your bolt's in place. Clean around there, no fresh oil, anything leaking out, no residue. All right, oil filter is in place. Let's add the oil. Hey, so we have to own up to something here, everybody. I'm human, and yesterday after I put the oil filter back on, I made a pretty big mistake. What I did was I stepped right into the oil pan with all my old oil, and I dumped about 3 quarts of motor oil on my sidewalk. So yeah, that wasn't good. So let's take a look at that mess real quick. What I'm doing right now to try to clean this up is just using kitty litter. All right, so if you've made a mess like this, just go ahead and use some kitty litter, and you should be able to clean it up. Now, another thing, what happened then is I kind of panicked, cleaned up the mess, and then I dumped too much motor oil in my car. So what we're going to be working on today is, one, the remedy for when you put too much motor oil in your car, and two, I'm going to show you the finished product of me doing this oil change, because I like to be transparent in all my videos, and if I make a mistake, well, I'm going to tell you guys about it, and I'm not going to try to edit that mistake out. So what we're going to be doing, like I said, is we're going to talk about how to get that oil out of your car if you put too much in there, and then I'm going to finish putting the oil in the 2010 Forester. All right, cool. Stick around. All right, so here comes the precarious part. I won't say this is difficult. What you're going to do is you put too much oil in, so you drained out almost all of it, right? Now don't go and dump it all back in. Dump in what you look to think is like maybe 3 quarts if you have to put in 4 quarts. And check your dipstick. I'm going to show you guys how I do that real quick. All right, so this is a time-consuming process, but you've got to do it slow. You got to do it right. And also keep a rag on hand, you know, so you can clean yourself up, clean up any big messes. All right, so make sure you're pouring from the pour area of your pan, which mine has. And if you pour it, the faster you pour, don't pour it too fast, but if you keep a good pace, it won't leak everywhere, all right? So I'm going to stop there. That's probably 2 or 3 quarts. I'm going to let a little bit of extra drip off, and I have a mat down below where I'm setting this, okay? So I'm not setting it on the ground and creating more of a mess like I did yesterday. So what we're going to do, take out the funnel. We're going to do a quick check-in. Now when your oil's full, you're going to want it kind of in between these 2 dots here. You're going to want it, you know, right around there. There's a tack mark on there. So we're going to take a look. All right, pretty much bone dry. So we're going to keep adding oil, all right? We're going to go back in, and we're going to dump some more in. Actually, just to make things a little easier, I have a little bit of the same exact high mileage synthetic motor oil I keep in the back. It's just easier to pour from here. So for the last little bit of topping off, I'm just going to use this. It makes no difference, guys and girls, all right? It's the same oil, it's synthetic. It's just easier for me to pour, a little more convenient. All right, so we're getting there. Now, the thing is, it's always easier to add more oil, right? It's not easier to take it out. So we're just taking our time here to get it to full. And hopefully this will do it. And again, these are like those moments when a lot of people panic and they're like, oh my God, did I replace the bolt, the oil pan bolt? You did. Hey. Don't open that door with her hanging on it. All right. Watch your fingers. So they're playing at with the car. You know how that goes. All right, so let's look. And there we go. We're looking good. All right, we're looking full. And that's the goal. All right, yes, I am happy with where that is on the dipstick. And one more time for the camera, I'll show you. Yeah, we're looking good right there, all right?
Daddy.
And hold on, back up. I don't want anyone seeing your face on the camera. Because it's not their business. So what we now do is we just put the lid back on. All right, so that concludes how to change the oil in your 2010 Subaru Forester, or really in any 3rd gen Subaru Forester, right? 2009 to 2013, it's the same setup under there, so it's the same way. Remember, 4.2 quarts of oil going here. Use an OEM filter. It's the same as the Fram and all those other ones, and I think it's a far better quality. don't forget the crush washer. That is like the #1 thing, all right? Do not forget that. And also, remember to like and subscribe. I hope this video helped. Share it with your friends. Get the word out about DIY Tutorial Guy, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.